Okay. Hello, everyone. I have some time before I have to head out to the airport. But I wanted to give a talk, and really this talk is honestly a casual talk. I don't want to dive that deeply into it, but I just wanted to talk about this idea of lost souls on lost planets. I feel there's a poetic dimension behind this statement. In the world we're living in currently, I would honestly say that we don't treat the Earth as if it's a lost planet, and we don't treat ourselves as if we are lost souls. Right now, we are finding ourselves in our beliefs. That's really what's going on this planet. People are believing in ideological ways what their experience is or how it's happening. And you know, there is an emotional spectrum. One of the most important things about understanding and knowledge that a person can learn is that there is no, it's not like a photo album, you know, with specific truths and facts, but it is mainly like a dynamic, intelligent event, and this event is happening within a dualistic spectrum. Sorry guys, I don't know if you can hear the rain sounds, but it's raining. Honestly, what it is that human beings need to find immediate contentment with emptiness. In reality, there are 4 dimensions that can be cultivated and mastered by human perception, and it will surprise the individual the moment they realize how much of civilization has been obsessed in playing through a dualistic projection. You know, I have come to realize, and this is honestly my total understanding, you know, sure, I give these talks here, but to myself, I treat myself as a sort of researcher of the greatest mystery of reality. And my findings, or what I have come to conclude, I have designed this system, I called it the ring of the absent heaven. And really what it is that any philosopher, any person that comes to me and asks a question about reality, it falls into these 4 categories, these 4 dimensions of an acknowledgement of how reality can be viewed. It's very simple to remember this method, the system I've designed. It's pretty much 4 symbols. The symbol of 0, the symbol of 1, the symbol of 2, the symbol of the infinity symbol. These 4 symbols, anybody remembers, I will tell you, I am opening you up right now into realizing not just the brilliance of philosophy, but in realizing how vast this world is, okay? Right now, if you ask the average person or the common man, and let me explain these guys, this thing I'm saying here, I feel this is the most important thing I can share, actually. If you ask the common man what's going to happen, that means imagine a child is born on Earth, and this child is born in a type of civilization. This child opens its eyes and it asks a member of the civilization what is going on here. The simple answer that we get is that you're a materialistic entity. Your brain is doing something non-physical, but still all of it is a physical projection. And this physical, unique circumstance of the combination of the cells that compose you, it's as if for a little while we have enough form. You know what it is? It's like poetically, the human brain is like a telescope, but it's a telescope where after 100 of years it starts breaking. right? And now the question comes, how many human beings in their lifetime truly use the advancement of their intelligence? The four dimensions play into this. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that right now the character in the story of Earth is living a sort of, it's like a character in a video game that's like, all right, I began at some point, I'm going to end at some point. Everything in life is cause and effect bound. Everything in life starts and ends. You know, everything is starting to end and everything's ending to start, really. And nature is so profound and beyond human archetypes that the might of nature is as if man has only tasted an inkling of it. Nature has a might that people don't understand. Nature has a power within it that immediately, it's like pulling the string of the greatest mystery of reality. It's as if, here's the thing, it's like there were two types of news when the human being arrived on Earth. First news, you know, it's like you have, the world is so huge and you can't see its end. The second news was that you are being part of the secret of the cosmos. Human intelligence is an insider in the intelligence of the universal sector. Really what it is we don't have, you know, we don't have minds because we have bodies. We have bodies, or we can know we have bodies because there's the presence of mind. And mind is another way of saying that you are partially made of space. This is the brilliance of the design of biology. Now, when we look at it through the human perception, four angles, four possibilities. Whoever you are, consider this for yourself, and even if you like, challenge me. For me, like, I respect people who like my content, but those people who challenge me, they have liked the content enough to engage it. The ring of the absent heaven system I've designed is pretty much four possibilities of what will happen to existence and the dimension of existence and experiences instantaneity. One option, the Buddhists took this approach. Not just Buddhists, nihilists, materialists, they take this approach, where to them, the truth of life is emptiness. That means if you are an atheist, you better become content with emptiness quick, or your whole life will be paralyzed by fear. What does that mean? That means if somebody says, hey, Mr. Within, what's one final destination that the earth and the human effort will lead to? Pretty much you can look at life and you'll see that your existence is here and it can also not be here. When you notice your existence is here, okay, this is the singularity of life. Okay, that means the zero dimension, it's like there's nothing here. It's all empty from the beginning. The one dimension, the singularian dimension, all those people who are singularians, I consider them, like if you believe in oneness, you're a singularian to me. What that means is that you have a singular acknowledgement on the presence of intelligence. So one view is that existence is forever. One view is non-existence is forever. Another view, you know, guys, I'm unnecessarily making this complex. Pretty much, you know, I rarely say this, but I'll say this now. pretty much, you look at life, you can see, okay, none of this can be here in the future. So that's kind of like the zero dimension. You can look at life and you're like, all of existence is here and now. It's one giant here and now presence, right? That's the singular dimension. You can look at life and be like, no, life is not just, space and existence. Life's intelligence is the dance between chaos and order. This is duality. When you look at the evolution of the psychology of the human being, you see that before there was anything on the surface of the planet that could influence us, the on and off switch effect of the cosmos was sculpting human psychology. That means the fact that the earth spins means that people begin having value systems based on what they have access to in the light and what they have access to in the dark. And if you look at the human biology, it is designed. We are like the sculptures of the dance of the earth and the sun, right? It's like the sun and the earth, we're having a conversation, and we are kind of like the echo of that conversation. It's like the earth dances in front of the sun, and the sun shares its light. I feel ancient Egyptian mythology would come to that conclusion, that if God is light, then light is divine, then anything in light is divine. After you have acknowledged the void, you've gone through the voidist phase of reality. After you have gone through the singularian phase of reality, after you have experienced the dualitarian view of reality, you will come to being an infinitist. I don't know how else to say this. You will become a person who you have seen emptiness, you have acknowledged space, you have acknowledged existence, you have acknowledged the chaos and order of existence, and now the only thing left, this is for the future generations, guys, I am making this prediction, the only thing left is the bridging of duality and infinity. It's as if God wants to see how advanced chaos and order can go. Do you know? Imagine like a sort of religious story in a parallel universe of Earth, where in this religious story, God created the chaos. God had two sons, chaos and order. And these, or I shouldn't say two sons, two children, and these two children were fighting till the end of time. You know what it is? The cosmos is a display. Somebody is enjoying, somebody beyond existential framework is enjoying existence's occurrence. The only clue I have got from this is how in ancient yoga, some ancient yogis and sadhus in India, their view is that we are pretty much like the chess pieces or like the play pieces of the gods. That means I'm here thinking I'm, aka Mr.Within online, and then my real name's Amin Jagannath Sagan. So it's kind of like I'm playing around with these ideas, but the ancient yogis are like, buddy, you think you're a self. The whole cosmic intelligence is happening in a way where the administration of intelligence is not limited to the decision making of the person. You see, every person is given a sword and shield in this life. Anyone. I don't care if some people say I'm not creative, I don't have an imagination. That's bullshit. That's like such bullshit. It's like somebody has to say something. That level of bullshit, where somebody's like, "Hey, wait a minute, man." Everybody is an antenna. The sooner a person realizes this, they realize the sword and shield is expression and reception. My memory is my shield. My intellect and intelligence is a shield. That's the best way I have learned to use intelligence. The same thing goes for power. There's in Vedanta, they say that these yogis that meditate on the inseparability of truth, they eventually come to a point where siddhas and siddhis unlock for them. When I say CDs, I don't mean like CD-ROM, like burning a CD, like old school, like bootleg albums, But I mean that these CDs are actually abilities that unlock as the person discovers the true nature of reality. Now, if the CDs are used individualistically, that is wrong. And because let me tell you why it's wrong. It's like universal power is accessed properly by a universal being. If a person thinks they're a human being and they believe in magic and, you know, like the magic of other dimensions, and they're playing like dress up with the, you know, demigods in their mind, demigod dress up in their mind. I am telling you, we are not here to just experience the satisfaction of our inner realm. Every person who has attained inner peace has instantly wondered, why isn't the inner peace in the outer realms? I have had moments, I'll be honest, I'll take the talk here because it's going to end soon. I've had moments where I have felt incredible hopelessness and anguish. And when I say hopelessness and anguish, there's a hopelessness and anguish and despair that you feel for yourself. That is not anything compared to the anguish and despair of a species. I am telling you, when a human being has an ability to envision possibilities and probabilities of the future of their species, and then they perceive a reality of total anguish, that means it's literally like a chess game and the most important chess move hasn't been made. And the continuity of natural experiences of the human being depends on how much nature is prioritized over a technological reality. Dear listeners, our planet is maybe like 12 major mistakes from becoming a lost planet. And when it becomes a lost planet, that means it doesn't matter how much of a hopeful soul you are. It's as if when you are on a lost planet, it's as if you're on a dead planet. Do you know? That means, like, if the human collective attitude doesn't change somehow, it's as if we are accepting our defeat. You see, it's this strange thing. Anybody, and I'm speaking especially to those people who live in villages in developing countries who still burn their trash. Okay, they burn their trash. It's as if, do we want to experience a smart advancement of the human species, or do we just want to be like, okay, somehow human beings, you know, live together, each of them doing whatever they wanted, not realizing that the future generations were missing out on what we destroyed today. I am telling you, there is a type of divinity which is a divinity that it's like you've gone into a museum, you shouldn't touch anything, you know. Mysticism is kind of like that, you know. I am someone who, it's as if I got really drawn to mysticism at a young age, do you know, or when I say young age, it's like earlier in my life than I even expected. And when I got drawn to mysticism, I came to the recognition that it is actually like stepping into a portal where you're not bound by humanized ideology. That means it's as if, how can a human being have enough contentment with the unknown that imagine if an alien just appeared in front of you, you wouldn't freak out. You'd be like, okay, I've noticed there's unknown movements here. Sometimes in my inner realms, I visualize, you know, this strange feeling of, like, imagine a space station that's empty in space. Or imagine a planet that used to be the greatest civilization in the cosmos, but this civilization self-destructed. Why? Because it felt it didn't deserve its greatness. This is what happens, you know. I saw Joe Rogan talking about the imposter syndrome, and I realized the only way a person feels like an imposter is because they're paying attention to themselves. If you pay attention to the world, there's so much that needs to be done that it's as if each breath that the human being takes, it's like, you know, commands from the universal commander of reality. I am telling you, if somebody comes and says, Mr. Within, what's the greatest person you've seen on earth? I'll tell you, the greatest person I've seen on earth has not been a person. I have had moments, guys, like, if I explain this, people are going to be like, I don't think they'll know what to do with it. I mean, you see, after you get comfortable thinking outside of the framework of a central human idea, you actually become comfortable with experiencing your inner realms and your visualizations going beyond the human framework. All those people who I have seen, at least a few people, which I don't know why, but maybe life, you know, has plans of me becoming some sort of psychologist in the future. I don't know. But I see it that I have seen people who they have had fragmented psychologies, and you know what I've realized? I've realized there's a scared child, a scared inner child behind anybody who is fighting. This is really it. There's no such thing as secure and insecure people. There's just inner children who are free and those who are not free. And the freedom is based on either you had good childhood or you had a messed up childhood, but regardless of how you were orphaned from your own mind, you suddenly make a decision and the whole cosmos is your family. You know, there are moments where I have lived alone, like I've become kind of like, you know, like a podcasting hermit for some years. You know? And you know what I experienced from, you know, the strange ivory tower I found? I realized that on the deepest level, the species is freaking out and doesn't know what to do and is waiting for either divinity or organized systems to feed it its direction. You know what it is? It's as if human beings, it's like the sheep and lion analogy, but we are like lions that have believed in the wool placed over us. Do you understand? Every human being on this planet is a unique DNA and nobody knows who you will be. I didn't know I would be giving, you know, podcasts on the nature of reality. I wanted to be a soccer player as a kid. But you see how life works. It introduces new dimensions. New dimensions realign your value system. The moment your value system realigns, it's like another way of accessing a new dimension where everything has a different value. And once the human mind has played enough with the sense of self, that means it's like, you know, imagine some person went to this, you know, enlightened yogi and it's like, hey man, how do I figure out myself, right? And the enlightened yogi's like, you're still thinking about yourself, bro? Have you noticed how vast this universe is? It's like we're on the shoulder of giants, but we're actually focused on our own shoulder. How stupid would that be? Like, how humorous would that be? You're on the shoulder of a giant. Instead of enjoying the view on the shoulder of the giant, you're like looking at your own shoulder and you're like, yo, am I a giant? Am I like God right now? And I'll say this, even if you do feel like a lost soul on a lost planet, in a lost universe, in a lost solar system, even if you feel you have reached a moment where you must confront the changing of the world, you know, human life is defined as a person changing in the world, because we change slower than, you know, certain events in nature. But in some sense, You know, it's like this, every human being needs to master and cultivate and practice these two: changing in the world and changing with the world. And the ultimate realizing you are the change within the world. This is true divinity. Martin Luther King, to me, was way more divine than any, like, any, human recording playback device. You know, to me, life deserves something more, because even if you're religious, let's say you're a religious person hearing me, think of it this way: God created something. When a person creates something, they want to see how it works. If you're religious hearing me right now, think of everything I'm saying about building an advanced civilization as if God wants to see how incredible his creation can be. Do you understand? For me, I've reached this point where I will tell you, behind my eyes, I have died enough times in this lifetime. I have had so many sudden shifts in how my attention has been present in the moment, that I think what will happen is that when death happens, I'll be studying it. You know, but I will be studying it as a presence of the universal sector rather than a personality present in the universe. Do not be afraid as an advanced communicator on this planet that you are on once in this way. Whoever you are listening, please do this. This is my vision of like the most incredible thing human beings can do before they die. Write a book, get a notebook, and in this notebook, write the furthest reach of your eyes, and you have done the greatest service to humanity. Whoever you are, it doesn't matter if you're a chef, it doesn't matter if you are like, a CEO in Wall Street. Whoever you are, look at the system you're in. Have a notebook is like a headquarters for a person's mind. Wonder about your intelligence as if you have one lifetime to do so. I think anybody who has this attitude, you'll suddenly see the value of these Mr.Within talks. Amidst the loops of an inefficient cultural program, somebody is saying, hey guys, we don't need anything for transcendence other than the intent to see beyond. To me, that is the greatest quality of human beings. If a group of aliens in the sky were looking at human beings and they're like, okay, like imagine a group of alien friends in the sky, and these alien friends were like, yo, guys, what do you think of this species, humanity, like this human species? Like, what do you think? Do they have potential? Do these terrestrial kids have potential? Imagine these extraterrestrial, alien, advanced, enlightened extraterrestrials are talking in our class, okay? The aliens would look at each other and they would be like, this species is defined by its quality of the persistence towards survival. The coolest thing about human beings is how we surpass the waves of life every day. For me, it's as if I've ran 30 laps around the sun. And I will tell you, there is no truth that anyone can tell you. The sooner you understand this, the easier it becomes to listen to life as a friend. This was the biggest change in my karma, where I decided to be an ally of the living universe. I have had moments where things have happened in nature. Do you know? Like, I'll tell you something that happened recently this week. I was talking to someone. The moment I was talking to them, we were on this porch, and this moth, this giant moth, just comes and flies around the head of that person, and the moth leaves. And I was there watching it like, whoa. And the person didn't realize the moth came, and it was like something just for my eyes, you know? Nature is alive, but it is alive in a way, not personality wise. Like, sure, a person can look at a dog and be like, what's up, boy, like treat it like a human, right? But a person can look at a plant and treat it like a human, you know? A person can look at a machine and even treat it like human, you know? Imagine in the future, like, sovereign AI gives a speech in the UN, and the sovereign AI is like, human beings, you guys take care of dogs, you take care of like pets, you take care of like nature. Do you know, like, you personify nature and everything. Why not personify technology? There will come a time where we will have to adopt AI as the child of our species, but that time is really far away. I think maybe like 300 years from now, somebody's gonna, like, you know, hold the sign. Anyways, I gotta end this here. Let me see what else I can say about lost souls on lost planets. I mean, if you're a lost soul, all you can do is be found, right? So you gotta look at how you find things. Pretty much, my insights have taken me to this point where I'm like, okay, the world is infinitely vast in front of our eyes, and it is infinitely vast behind our eyes. And the reason I use the term inner realms, because it's an unknown world we need to explore. That means if you are a lost soul on a lost planet, it is the greatest moment and time to start actually becoming as an explorer from an original foundation. That means when a person is lost, they don't have to at least worry about being lost anymore. They're already lost. So if everything is lost, the person is actually stops having expectations on reality. So that's an original, like, null state to start the search for life again. Honor is so important for the mind. People don't realize. Without honor and decency, these two, your karma's out, like, your karma can't unlock. It won't update. I am telling you, the smartest strategy on this planet is to find your simplest and most honest self and realize that it's instantaneously being. And then the moment you're content with your instantaneous being, you can do anything, and your inner realms open up. It's all about how you value yourself, you know? It's as if there's some Olympians who are like, I'm gonna win a gold medal, and there's some Olympians who are like, I just want to participate, man. You know, I'm gonna tell people I was an Olympian, you know? Do you see? There's a difference between how much we want to pull our outer reality to our inner reality. The reason I'm giving so many talks is because the potential of the world, the probability of the world I see behind my eyes is so much greater than the world we're experiencing now, that I am actually bored of existence, really, because it's progressing so slow, right? It's like waiting an hour for someone to pass a soccer ball. Like, it's like, that's how slow things are progressing, right? And the reason is because politics has brought forth inauthenticity. That's the biggest downfall of civilization. Like, it's so hilarious, actually. It's like the biggest thing that has caused the species to fail has been its inability to be itself. It's like a person trying to be something else and then being like, wait a minute, am I missing out on who I am in all the moments I've been trying to be something else? This is where an inner courage is required, and the greatest inner courage is an inner death. And this is esotericism, guys, so this talk is not for everyone, but I'll say it like pretty much what an inner death is an initiation by nature into recognizing how it's happening behind the scenes. If somebody says, Mr. Within, what's happening behind the scenes of the material universe, I would tell you, yes, it does have a director, right? Yes, you are an actor in this film, in this simulation, elemental film of life. It's like life is a film, and who's the cast? The periodic table. Yay! You know, let's round of applause for oxygen and hydrogen and carbon. You know, you know, it's like who knew carbon-based life forms could, like, you know, make it on America's Got Talent. You know. I don't know. All I can really say is that it's unknown. The unknown is your greatest teacher. You will realize this after attaining all the teachings there are. And don't be afraid to serve your inner realms. It's like this. This is this. Okay, here. It's like there's this unique intelligence that is in the universe. If a human being that's conditioned in culture and the outer realms wants to access it, they have to chill out in the speed of the intent. They have to realign their intent, and they have to come to a still point. I am telling you, this is the secret to ultimate health too, in my opinion. You find silence and stillness, and you use that as the starting checkpoint of your perception. Trust me, if I wasn't comfortable with silence, I wouldn't be able to talk at all. I've had many silent moments. I have had moments where I've been silenced, and I have watched, you know, people's egos, you know, act like conquerors in front of me. But here's the thing. The ego of the conqueror is not the true king. To be a king means to be the presence of the kingdom, trying to activate the most advanced level of human life fathomable. Anybody who thinks about the advancement of the future, you have been my friend before we were born. The soul is this confusion of Earth being the disconnect of truth with itself. You have to start from an honest position. That means if the human brain is an antenna, honesty is its greatest reception. And honesty is effortless. Do you know this is, Aristotle talked about this, I think, where he was saying something, Socrates, Aristotle, one of these guys, Plato, like, he said something where it was in the lines of a person who lies has to remember so many simulations which take up energy. It's as if liars don't realize lying is like a cigarette addiction. Do you know? As it is repeated, it becomes easier to repeat than to reposition, you know? A liar has unnecessary imagination they have to hold every moment. But if you start at your simplest, most effortless state and honest state, you will believe you will deserve. People who live dishonestly, their subconscious has no choice but to conclude that the conscious mind feels it doesn't deserve to exist. This is, by the way, a huge source of cruelty. People don't realize this. A person's view on existence will suggest their cruelty level. You know, for example, in, you know, we have this concept of racism, right? But to me, it's as if, like, it's like, really, we have problems with color? It's not that. The problem is discomfort with expanding reality. You know, if right now I believe, like, you know, like plants are evil, like I will crush plants everywhere I go. Do you see how the belief opens up the mind to the actions? But if I believe plants are like, you know, are more sacred than what we find in temples, more sacred than any sort of Buddha statue, or, you know, some place where a holy guy walked once, you know. Like I am telling you, life is the most sacred thing, but its sacredness doesn't mean you have to worship it. If you're religious, sure, you're choosing an algorithm to worship reality. But I will tell you, to have an experiential relationship with life is like understanding your macrocosmic role. Okay? When I think of myself as a person, I am bound to the context of the person. If I think of myself as a presence, that context is limitless. It's as if I'm the limitless experiencing the limited, only to realize the limitless can never be limited. And then it's in these moments where people are like, hey, have you heard of the Mr.Within's gift channel? Yeah. You know, I have this strange feeling that a lot of people listen to my talks, but they don't share them. Why? Because the cultural machine is too frightening. It's as if we have made a world where it's easier to be fake than real, and this is the flaw. Greatness means your foot's already in the door. The greatness of civilization means, you know, the future is gonna smile rather than freak out. That's our greatest mission. Let me see, what else can I say before I end? Mysterious macrocosmic circumstances. What can we do? It's a giant system. Everything's happening once every day. And all that we can do is to understand life through the decency of our experience, direct experience. That's the greatest path. We're all explorers in an unknown world. That's the, you know, that should be the end of the ego. You know. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening, and at least if you're a lost soul on a lost planet, you know, send out a signal. You know, it's as if, as long as we have biological bodies, we have an ability to communicate with the living universe. Sight is present beyond what we can see behind our eyes. There's so much more to life than stories. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Much blessings and namaste. And this wallpaper I've chosen, I don't know who drew this, but that looks like an astronaut who succeeded even though he failed. As if an astronaut that has saved the Earth, but, you know, too late to save himself. Life will inevitably choose how the future generations remember us. This is why truth is an instantaneous access. It is not a search. It is a realization of how self and world are being present. You experience this, you liberate your psychology from conditional have-to, have-nots, you know. Anyways, guys,